What if a rich billionaire unknowingly helped his own son, a poor beggar boy? This emotional African story of lost love, secrets, and family will surprise you. Watch till the end to discover the shocking truth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories from FolkTales Central. A long time ago, in a big city of Lagos, there lived a young man named Mr. Daniel. Daniel was smart, strong, and very hard-working. He was a billionaire. He had cars, houses, companies, and workers. Everyone knew his name. But Daniel was not happy. When he was just 25 years old, he got married to a beautiful woman named Anita. They were so happy at first. They danced, they laughed, they traveled around the world. They wanted a baby, a child to love and care for. But year after year, no baby came. Daniel cried many nights, alone in his big bed. He went to hospitals, drank bitter herbs, and even prayed at midnight. But nothing changed. His wife became sad too. Then one day, Anita packed her bags and left. "You are not a real man," she said. "You can't even give me a child." Daniel was heartbroken. The news spread like fire. People whispered behind his back. "He is impotent," they said. "He must have used his manhood for money." Some even said he made a deal with dark spirits. Daniel stopped talking to people. He stopped smiling. He poured all his time into his work. Several years later, he became richer but lonelier. One rainy morning, something strange happened. Daniel was sitting inside his black car with dark windows. His driver stopped at a traffic light. Just then, a beggar boy knocked on the window. The boy looked weak and hungry. His shirt had holes, and his trousers were too short. His feet were bare and dirty. He held out his hand and said, "Please, sir, just a little food." Daniel looked at the boy. Something about him felt familiar. "Where are your parents?" Daniel asked, lowering the window. The boy looked down. "I don't know, sir. I live under the bridge." Daniel gave him some money. But as the driver drove away, Daniel couldn't stop thinking about the boy. There was something in the boy's eyes, something he had seen before many years ago. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He walked to his study and opened an old photo album. He saw a picture from many years ago, when he was just 23, during his youth service in Calabar. Then his hands froze. In that photo was a young woman. She had bright eyes and a wide smile. Her name was Ima. Daniel had fallen in love with her during that year. But after service ended, they lost contact. He had gone back to Lagos and she never called. He had almost forgotten her. But now, the beggar boy's face looked just like hers. Could it be? Was that boy his son? Daniel could not forget that face. The more he thought about the beggar boy, the more he felt something moving in his heart. It was not just pity, it was connection. The boy had the same sharp nose, the same kind eyes, the same little smile Ima had when she was shy. Daniel stood up and paced around the room. His hands were shaking. "Could Ima have had my child?" he whispered to himself. "Could that boy be mine?" He didn't sleep that night. The next morning, he told his driver to take him to the same street where he saw the beggar. But the boy was gone. Daniel waited for hours. He came back the next day. And the next, he asked shop owners. He asked women frying akara. Some of them said they'd seen the boy, but no one knew his name or where he slept. Then one day, he saw him again, sitting by a dustbin, eating leftover rice with his fingers. Daniel stepped out of his car and walked slowly to the boy. "What's your name?" he asked softly. The boy looked up, scared. He held his food close, like someone might take it. "Why do you want to know?" the boy asked. Daniel knelt beside him. "Because I think I knew your mother." The boy's face changed. "My mama died 3 years ago," he said. Daniel's heart broke. "What was her name?" he asked quickly. The boy wiped his mouth with his dirty sleeve. Ima Eno." Daniel's legs became weak. He sat down on the ground, not caring about the dust. "It was her." He looked at the boy again, this time with tears in his eyes. "What about your father?" Daniel asked. The boy shook his head. "Mama never told me. She said he left us before I was born." She cried a lot when she said that. Daniel's chest felt tight. His eyes became wet. All this time, while he was crying in his mansion, his real son was out here, hungry, dirty, and alone. But something wasn't right. If Ima had known he was the father, why didn't she tell him? Why did she disappear without a word? And how did she die? Daniel's mind was full of questions. He gently asked the boy, "Do you have a name?" "Yes," the boy said. "Mama called me David." Daniel felt like his heart had stopped. David! That was the name he once told Ima he would give to his first son. Something deep inside Daniel knew. This was no accident. This was destiny. But just then, a man came running from across the road, shouting at the boy. "David, I told you not to beg around here again." The man grabbed the boy by the shirt roughly. David cried out in fear. "Hey!" Daniel shouted, standing up. "Leave him alone." The man looked at Daniel and laughed. "And who are you? Another fake helper?" Daniel's eyes went dark with anger. "I'm someone who's ready to change this boy's life forever." The man spat on the ground. "This boy is mine. He works for me." "Works for you?" Daniel stepped closer. "You make a child beg for money?" "You don't understand," the man said with a smirk. "This boy owes me." Daniel took out his phone. "Well then, let the police explain it to you." But as he dialed the number, the man pushed the boy and ran away. David was shaking. "I'm sorry," he said. "Please don't leave me." Daniel knelt and hugged him tight. "I'm not going anywhere." But deep inside, Daniel was burning. Someone had used his child, his only son, and someone knew the truth about Ima and had kept it hidden. Now Daniel wanted answers, and he would not rest until he found who took Ima from him and why he was kept from his own blood. Daniel took David home. For the first time in many years, his house was not quiet. The boy ran around in wonder, looking at the big chairs, shiny floors and rooms full of light. "Is this a hotel?" David asked, wide-eyed. Daniel laughed for the first time in months. "No, this is your home now." David blinked. "My home?" Daniel knelt in front of him. "Yes, from now on you will eat good food, sleep in a warm bed, you will go to school, you will play and smile. No more begging." David stared at him. "Why are you helping me?" Daniel took a deep breath. "Because I knew your mother, and I think I am your father." David didn't understand everything, but he smiled anyway. "You are the kindest man I've ever met." But Daniel wasn't smiling. He was thinking about Ima. That night Daniel couldn't sleep again. He walked into his study and brought out an old phone, one he had not used in years. He charged it, turned it on, and searched for Ima's old number. It didn't connect. He called an old friend from his youth service days. "Do you remember Ima Eno from Calabar?" he asked. There was silence. Then the voice on the phone said something strange. "You mean the girl who disappeared?" Daniel sat up. "Disappeared? What do you mean?" His friend sighed. "She left Calabar a few weeks after you did. Nobody heard from her again. We heard she got pregnant, but then she vanished." Daniel's hands began to shake. "Ima didn't tell me anything. I didn't even know." "Maybe someone didn't want you to know," the friend said. "Have you asked her family?" "I don't even know where her people are." "You should go back to Calabar. Someone there may still remember." The next morning, Daniel dressed simply, no suit, no tie, just jeans and a plain shirt. He told his driver to get the jet ready. David would stay with a trusted maid, while Daniel made a short trip. As the plane flew over the land, memories came flooding back. The red soil, the coconut trees, the smell of roasted fish. Calabar had not changed much, but something was waiting for him there. He found the old house where Ima used to stay. It was broken now. The roof had holes. Grass had grown around it. But one woman still lived next door, Mama Etuk, a trader who had known Ima well. She was shocked when Daniel arrived. "Daniel, is it really you? The Lagos boy who broke Ima's heart?" Daniel's face went pale. "I never broke her heart. I loved her." Mama Etuk shook her head. "Then why didn't you come back? Why didn't you look for her when she needed you?" "I didn't know she was pregnant." "She never told me." The woman looked into his eyes. "Maybe she couldn't." Daniel frowned. "What do you mean?" Mama Etuk lowered her voice. "Ima was being watched. There were people who didn't want her to talk to you. Powerful people." Daniel's heart skipped a beat. "Who?" Mama Etuk looked around before speaking again. "A man from her church, a so-called prophet. He said you were evil, that you had sold your soul. He told Ima to stay away." Daniel felt like he couldn't breathe. "A prophet?" Mama nodded. "He told her the child was cursed if he grew up near you." She believed him at first, but later she tried to escape with the boy. What happened? Daniel asked. Mama's voice became quiet. They found her. She was sick. They said it was malaria. But we all knew better. Daniel's eyes burned with tears. Someone had taken Ima from him, lied to her, lied to him. But why? And what did they want from little David? Just then Mama Etuk said something else that chilled Daniel's bones. The prophet's name was Pastor Jeremiah. He moved to Lagos 5 years ago. Daniel stood up. Lagos? Yes, he runs a big church now, rich, powerful. People say he can see visions. Daniel's face went cold. He had heard that name before. Pastor Jeremiah was famous. He had even spoken at a government event Daniel attended. People respected him, but now Daniel had a different feeling, a deep, burning anger. If this so-called man of God kept Ima from him, if he scared her into silence, if he had something to do with her death, then Daniel was going to find him. And when he did, the world would know what really happened to Ima. Daniel flew back to Lagos with fire in his heart. He didn't talk to anyone. He sat in silence, holding Ima's photo in one hand and David's small backpack in the other. This wasn't just pain anymore. It was a mission. When he landed, he told his assistant, "Get me everything on Pastor Jeremiah. His church, his past, his people. I want to know where he sleeps and who protects him." Within hours, Daniel had a file in his hands. Pastor Jeremiah lived in a huge mansion behind his megachurch, divine mountain of fire and light. He drove a black SUV with armed guards. Politicians visited him. Even TV stations begged for his interview, but Daniel didn't care. The next Sunday, Daniel dressed in plain clothes and walked into the church. The crowd was huge. Music was loud. People were shouting and dancing. Then the pastor came in, tall, handsome, smiling like a king. His white suit was so bright it almost glowed. He waved at the crowd and said, "Somebody say hallelujah." The crowd roared. Daniel stared at him from the back row. He had finally found the man who stole his future. The sermon began. "Some people," Pastor Jeremiah shouted, "think money is everything. But money without God is useless." People clapped. "But if you want success," he went on, "you must cut off people who block your destiny. Say, cut them off. Cut them off!" The crowd yelled back. Daniel clenched his jaw. That's what he told Ima, he thought, that I was blocking her destiny. After church, Daniel waited. He walked to the pastor's car and asked politely, "Sir, may I speak to you for just 1 minute?" The guard stepped forward. "He's busy. Step back." But the pastor looked at Daniel. Something about Daniel's eyes made him pause. "It's fine," he said to the guards. "Let him come." They stepped aside. Daniel stepped closer, calm but burning inside. "Do you remember Calabar?" he asked quietly. The pastor's face changed for just a second, just 1 second. Then he smiled. "My brother, I go to many places," he said. "Why do you ask?" "Ima Eno," Daniel said firmly. "Do you remember her?" The pastor blinked. For a moment he looked scared. Then he laughed. "Ah, that girl. That was long ago. What is this about?" "She died," Daniel said flatly. "And now her son is with me, my son." Pastor Jeremiah stopped smiling. He looked around, leaned closer, and whispered something that made Daniel's heart almost stop. "I warned her," he said. "I told her that child would destroy everything." Daniel's voice became sharp. "You lied to her." "I protected her," the pastor hissed. "From men like you, I knew what you were, what I was." Daniel asked. "I loved her. You were becoming powerful." The pastor snapped. "You were about to be great, and greatness comes with a price. I had to act fast." Daniel stepped back in shock. "What do you mean?" The pastor's eyes were dark now. "If she stayed with you, you would have failed. You'd never become who you are now. That child was not part of the plan." Daniel felt weak. "What plan?" Pastor Jeremiah smiled coldly. "Let sleeping spirits lie, Mr. Billionaire. Some things are bigger than love, bigger than you. Walk away and enjoy your money." Daniel's hand shook as he pointed a finger. "I'm not walking away. Not now, not ever." He turned and walked off before he did something he'd regret. But deep down, he knew. This man had done more than lie. He had played with destiny. And the more Daniel searched, the more he uncovered. That week, he received an anonymous letter at his office. No name, no return address. Just 6 words written on the paper. "Ima was killed. I have proof. Daniel stared at the letter for a long time. 6 words. Just 6 words that burned into his mind. Ima was killed. I have proof. He called his head of security and said, "Find out who delivered this letter. Check the cameras. I want everything." By evening, they had something. A woman in a long black gown and face. Scarf had dropped the letter at the gate and disappeared into a taxi. But the plate number was clear. Within hours, they found her. Her name was Sister Esther. She had been Ima's friend. They sang in the choir together back in Calabar. Now she was living quietly in a small town outside Lagos. Daniel went to see her that same night. Her eyes filled with tears when she saw him. "Daniel, you came. Ima was the only woman I truly loved," he said softly. "Please tell me the truth." Sister Esther nodded slowly and began to speak. "After you left Calabar," she said, "Ima found out she was pregnant. She was happy. She wrote letters to you, but Pastor Jeremiah told her you had married someone else." Daniel's eyes widened. "That's a lie. I waited for her." "I know," Sister Esther said, "but the pastor controlled her. He told her you had made a deal with dark powers to become rich, that your child would be cursed." Daniel gripped the edge of his chair. "Then what?" She believed him. "At first," she whispered, "but when her son was born, she saw only love in his eyes. She wanted to leave. She wanted to find you. But before she could, the pastor came with 2 men. Sister Esther paused. "I was in the next room. I heard the struggle. She begged them. She cried. But the next morning, Ima was gone. They said it was malaria. But I saw the bruises on her neck. I saw the fear in her son's eyes." Daniel's heart broke. He covered his face with his hands and wept. The strongest man in the city, the billionaire everyone feared, he was now shaking with grief. He looked up. "Why didn't you speak?" "I was scared," Sister Esther said. "But when I saw you on TV with the boy, I knew it was time." Daniel stood up. "Thank you. Your truth is a light in this darkness." That night, Daniel called his lawyer, his media team, and the police. By morning, the news had spread like fire. Breaking: billionaire Daniel Okafor accuses famous pastor of murder and lies. People were shocked. Social media exploded. The pastor denied everything. But then Sister Esther came forward, and then 2 more women, and soon the lies unraveled. The government launched an investigation. The pastor was arrested. His churches were sealed. People began to speak. Secrets that had been buried for years rose to the surface. But Daniel didn't care about the headlines. He'd only cared about one thing: his son. He hugged David tightly that night and said, "Your mother was a strong, beautiful woman. She didn't leave you. She was taken. But now the truth is free, and no one will hurt you again." David looked up. "So, I'm really your son." Daniel smiled with tears in his eyes. "You are more than my son. You are my second chance." From that day forward, Daniel was no longer just a billionaire. He was a father, a fighter, and a voice for those who had been silenced. And little David? He grew up to be a brave, smart young man, one who helped orphans and fought for justice, just like his father had done for him. The end. If this story touched your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and comment your thoughts below. And if you're new here, subscribe to FolkTales Central, where true emotions meet unforgettable stories. Because here, we don't just tell stories, we bring hearts to life.